Since the conclusion of the Plenary Council, you may have noticed that a lot of articles have been coming out, especially one coming out from the ACBC, trying to cover their tracks, and the headlines reading that the Australian Plenary Council finished off on a high note, and I think that is very dishonest. It's anything but a high note unless they set a very low bar for this Plenary Council, because it was an absolute disaster. It's nothing short of a failed Plenary Council. This has been a total failure in the Australian Catholic Church. And it's a failure on so many levels. We can list all the failures that had gone out throughout the past 4 years. And even during the last week when they carried out the Plenary Council. On one level, they misled the people in thinking that their vote really counted. Although there were 277 delegates, they only constituted what you would call a consultative vote. So it may influence the bishops' votes, but at the end of the day, they can disregard the consultative vote altogether. So it's very misleading to the people, and giving them a sense of false hope that they can really contribute to the whole process. Because at the end of the day, the only votes that really count are the deliberative votes, the ones from the bishops, and I think there were only about 48 of them, but although there were lesser number than the consultative votes, they're the only votes that are canonically irrelevant. And so there was a lot of complaints and an uproar even leading up to these plenary councils, because the laity discovered that their votes really didn't count, and so it was an absolute waste of time. And I suppose on another level, there were the failure of the bishops to teach. This could have been a great teaching moment for the Australian Catholic Church, where the bishops would draw from the 2,000-year history of the Catholic Church, and teach the Catholic people, the laity, who are so poorly formed, poorly catechized, that they are pushing for all sorts of things that are impossible to achieve, and giving them these false hopes. And so this could have been a great teaching moment for the Catholic Church, for the Catholic bishops to really stand up and defend the magisterium and catechize the people. And at the end of the day, what have we left with at the end of the Plenary Council? We've left all of these people leaving, none the wiser, and they're still in error in their way of thinking that the next Plenary Council, whenever that may be, they will be able to push their agenda once again at this next meeting, wherever that might be. And so the bishops have really failed the Australian Catholic people in that manner. This could have been a moment, a great teaching moment, when they could fight back the current of modernism that is infecting so many of the churches around the world and heavily affecting the Australian church here. And I think they could have taught a bit of sacramental theology, but even having said that, it doesn't look like the bishops are well formed. They don't seem to uphold what the Catholic Church teaches about sacramental theology. It's not subject to relativism. It's there. The teaching has a long history that it can't be changed, and it really misled the people and held the people held their hopes that it could change, but in fact it can't. And so the bishops really failed the Catholic people in Australia. And what it was really revealing when some of the bishops came out for the media panels at the end of the day. There was a panel where there was two ladies. One was, I think her name was Virginia Burke, and then another one was Sister Mel Dwyer, Canossian sister, and they were there with Archbishop Mark Coleridge of Brisbane. And this was after the event, the big event on Wednesday, where they voted for the women deacons, and the deliberative vote came out not going their way. And so what they did was, 60 people walked off the floor and just stood at the back of the room in protest to the results of that vote. And mainly, a lot of them were women, hoping that some of them, or that women in general, could be ordained as deacons. And so this is the media panel that had to front up to the cameras after this horrific event in the Plenary Council. And then Archbishop Mark Coleridge, he describes the event as that something wrong had gone wrong in that on that day. At that very moment, something had gone wrong. And of course, something did go wrong. I mean, the fact that these women did not accept the vote against women deacons. You can't just have it your way all the time and kick and scream until you do get the vote your way. And so, Archbishop Mark Coleridge really folded there. He didn't really give the church any of its teachings. That you can't ordain women. The fact that Jesus was a male, and sacramental theology does not change like that as they wished. And then I think it was the following day we had Bishop Mark Edwards of Wagga Wagga with two other women as well. And it was so surprising. One of the reporters was asking them, is there some sort of consensus in what the mission of the church is? And they just really fluffed around, and you got a bishop there, a pastor of the church couldn't even explain what the mission of the church is. They kept on defining what a mission is, and the reporter was not asking what is a mission. He understands what a mission is. He asked the question. He was asking what is the mission of the church, and if Bishop Mark Edwards does not even know what the mission of the church is, what are we doing here? What are we even doing at this plenary council? And let me remind him, if he still doesn't know, the mission of the church is for the salvation of souls. And so I hope he gets this. I hope all the participants of the plenary council understand this. The mission of the church is for the salvation of souls. I think what we can see in these media panels after the plenary councils is that a lot of these bishops were really, or at least some of them, most of them are really given into the modernistic agenda, this left-wing agenda, this feminist agenda. They've wholeheartedly given themselves into this modernism. But there were some bishops were agonizing. They really wanted to speak up, but I think they were just too afraid. They were just too afraid to stand up for the fullness of the gospel, and really make it a teaching moment in the history of the Australian Church. They just backed down and they could not fight. And that's what I mean. The feminism has infected our church. It has emasculated all these bishops, all these men, and they are no longer speaking out, and they're just giving way to all of these women. And so, with these videos, I hope to be having an in-depth look at some of our bishops down the track, and seeing what kind of destruction they are bringing about in their diocese. And so, please subscribe to the channel so that when I do make a video on various characters in the Australian Catholic Church and really analyse them for their good works, but also for the terrible things that they have been a part of. There's a lot of horror stories in a lot of dioceses in Australia where a lot of abuses are happening in various ways, even liturgical abuses. And so you might have some sort of story, you might have witnessed something that's in your parish that you might like to email to me, and I can report it so that the church in Australia, the faithful Catholics in Australia, can be informed of what people are doing around the nation. And so I suppose, that's how I saw it. The plenary council was a total failure. It was a failed council because of the lack of leadership from our bishops. I've stated a few reasons why here. You might have your own reasons, so if you'd like to let me know what you thought, how the plenary council failed. Please leave a comment below, and I will be reading them and will be responding to them. if not in writing, perhaps in the next video. And so, once again, everyone, please like this video, share it. The people in Australia, the Catholics in Australia, need to know about what is happening in our church today. And also please subscribe, so that because I'm releasing a lot of videos at the moment, as soon as one comes out, you will be informed. So please do that. And with this channel, I think it's in some way helping some of those bishops who are sort of agonizing over what is happening in the Catholic Church in Australia, and helping them to push back by calling out those liberals that is so rampant in the Catholic Church today. This can be some sort of a force to help them to lean on, because at the moment I think the bishops are really hanging on by a thread. They're really not getting any support, at least those who still believe in the magisterium of the church. So we need to pray for them, pray for our bishops, that they may teach the fullness of the gospel and stop being such a coward, stop being so scared. You know, they chose to be bishops for a reason. If they couldn't stand up to the evil that we're facing in our church in Australia today, they should have never accepted the appointment. And so, yeah. So this has been another video exposing the Plenary Council and the evils that have gone on during this past week. And so keep the church, the Australian Church, in your prayers, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless.